recently posted a video called Japan is Beautiful. It was my first time filming and solo traveling. And now I want to share 3 things I learned on this trip so that you won't repeat the same mistakes that I did when you go film Japan or anywhere else. Number 1, you don't need a tripod. Well, kinda. You want to pack as light as possible, and to be honest, you don't need a tripod unless you plan on filming yourself. In my Japan video, a lot of the shots were actually handheld, and I discovered a neat trick that you can make handheld footage look like it's from a tripod. Just go into DaVinci Resolve, under the stabilization tab, leave the mode in perspective, and select camera lock. As long as the camera is relatively stable and whatever you're shooting is relatively static, that allows the warp stabilizer to essentially anchor onto the static parts of the image to use as a reference, and you end up with a tripod looking shot that is actually handheld. The tripod I used during the trip is the Leofoto LS225C. Number 2, shooting with ND filters. I own these 2 Freewell variable ND filters for years, and they're great until you have to shoot out a window or like a phone, and you end up with this rainbow fringing due to cross polarization, which then you need to unscrew and then put away, and by the time that's done, you've already missed the shot. Funny enough, Freewell actually reached out to me after I came back asking if I was interested in reviewing their Freewell M2 magnetic quick swap filters. The solution to avoid cross polarization is to use single stop NDs. In this Freewell set, it comes with an ND8, 64, and 1000, as well as a UV and a CPL filter. It also includes this tiny magnetic ring that you leave on the lens, which allows you to quickly attach and detach your ND filter, which solves the second problem of how cumbersome it is unscrewing the filters each time. The other issue I ran into when filming out of the Shibuya Sky Tower were reflections. They do not allow tripods or any other gear besides the camera. I was able to convince them, however, to let me bring this Ninja reflector dish, which in theory is supposed to help cut back on reflections when you press against the glass. However, it didn't do that well. But with a CPL filter, it can help cut back on some of those reflections. Number 3, don't overshoot. I ended up not using 80% of the shots I filmed because they were just mediocre. You don't need as much as you may think you'll need. Try to just enjoy the moment rather than, capturing as much as you possibly can and making the trip worth it. I extended my trip for another 4 days because I didn't even get to enjoy or relax in Japan throughout my entire trip. So in the last few days, I didn't even end up touching the camera and I just went cafe hopping. Lastly, just a few minor things I want to touch on before people ask in the comments section. The camera I used was the Sony FX3. The lenses were the Sony 24-105, Sony 20mm, Laowa 12mm. The 24-105 seems practical due to its versatility, but it was also one of the reasons why I ended up overshooting. It's very large and heavy, and it's just not an enjoyable experience to bring while you're traveling. I think next time I'll probably just get like a compact Sony 40mm and bring the Sony 20mm for the wider shots. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. And maybe this will make your experience in Japan a lot better than mine, or wherever you end up traveling to. Peace.